Well, in theory, I would say yes. It might seem a bit cynical just to cut it on young people who are sort of the least likely to vote, so the least damaging. If it's a good principle, it really should apply across the board. What I would say is that instead of necessarily subsidising housing and which sort of distorts the market and gives people the wrong incentives, make it a sort of a simple cash benefit instead, so people have the ability to choose what they spend their money on instead of the government saying we're going to subsidise housing for you. We'll just say here's the money instead. Let you choose where you're going to live. So therefore, it doesn't penalise those people who decide to live with their parents or not. If you decided to live with your parents and rely on your family, you shouldn't be penalised as opposed to those who decide they want to try and get a house and get it off the back of the taxpayers. So really, the focus I think should be that your first point of call is really family and friends. You shouldn't necessarily with housing immediately go, I want the taxpayers to bail me out. But similarly, it shouldn't be biased to any one side or, and as I said, any one age group. It's wrong just to target the under 25s when really, if this is a sensible principle, which I think it is, we should see it apply to everyone and just give them the cash alternative instead. Well, as I said, I think they're statistically the least likely to vote. Um, I think I'm right in saying that. So if you target them, you're less likely to it's less likely to hurt you in the ballot box at the election. It's more I'd say it's more of a sort of a ploy. Maybe again, like Thatcher with the poll tax in Scotland, trying out a principle on a group where you're already unpopular. Certainly with tuition fees, he's already quite unpopular, so he can try something else out on them. They weren't going to vote for him anyway. If it goes badly, he doesn't have to apply it to everyone else. So I think it might be a bit of using the youth as a bit of a test or an experiment for his policies. Honestly, I'm not sure, to be honest. It does. It's one of these policies that I would say you do obviously have to be wary of the people. Obviously the least often, worst off in our society, and these people that have no other option. So that is one of my reservations about the policy. That whilst obviously it is desirable that people aren't dependent on the government and turn to family first, if they don't have any, they shouldn't be penalised or excluded. So whilst UKIP would say you've got a simple cash benefit that these people would still have access to, and they would be able to choose where they live. So they might not get gorgeous housing, but they get suitable housing to live and enough to live off. Until they can get a job, etc. I'm not sure if the Tories have really thought this through and accommodated for these people in our society. So whilst obviously I've got some things in common with policy, I would say that the poorest and the most vulnerable really need to look at them and see how is this going to affect those people.